Okay, so this question is the midterm question that I had mistakenly put in the answers for. So I'm going to solve it for you so that you have this to study with. So this question is a bond question, and it has us using how bonds are quoted in financial press. So the question goes as follows. This morning, Sparky got to your newspaper before you did, and he found the business section especially delicious. You own Bell, BMO, Canadian Tire bonds, and want to figure out the information that was destroyed. Okay, and we're also going to assume that today's date is February 1, which makes these calculations a bit easier. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go one by one to go through Bell, BMO, and Canadian Tire and figure out these missing pieces here. So, a couple things before we start. We have to remember that these two are rates. Okay, so this is the coupon rate, this is the yield to maturity, and these are expressed as an APR with semi-annual compounding. So we need to keep that in mind whenever we're doing our calculations. This one here is the price of the bond, but it's expressed as a percent of face value. So effectively, these are percentages of 1,000. So you'll see how we can deal with that a little bit later in this solution. So first, let's start with Bell. So with Bell, we've got all the information, but we're looking for the time to maturity. That's going to help us figure out what that date is there. So let's go through and see what information we do have. So we know that the coupon is equal to 6.25. That's an annual APR, so we divide it by 2 and multiply it by 1,000. And that gives us 31.25. And then we can also see that we have the price of the bond. So PV is equal to 101.69% of 1,000. So that's going to be equal to 1016.90. And we also know the yield to maturity, 5.63. So the yield to maturity is 5.63% divided by 2. That's equal to 2.815%. Okay, so all I'm doing is looking at all the pieces of information from this line here. Now I can go ahead and solve for the missing piece N. So if I translate all of this into my calculator inputs, here's what I've got. My payment is equal to $31.25. I also know that I have a face value that's paid at the end of the life of the bond of 1,000. My present value is my price. That's going to go into my calculator as a negative number. This is, we're purchasing the bond, so it's a cash outflow. And we also know our interest rate. That is 2.815. Okay, and we're computing our N. That's going to come out to be 6. And remember, that's 6 semi-annual periods. Everything here is in semi-annual. So if I want to have this in years, that's going to mean this is 3 years remaining on the bond. So 3 years in date format is going to be the 1st of February, 2022. So 3 years from now. So 1 Feb 2022. Okay. That takes care of Bell. So let's move on to BMO. For BMO, the missing piece of information is the price. We are looking for our PV here. So let's collect all the information we do have. We have our coupon rate. So the coupon is equal to 7% divided by 2 times 1,000. So 35. Here we do have a date, so to move that into the number of periods we have left, well, we have the difference between 2024 and 2019, and let's move that into semi-annual periods. That's 10 semi-annual periods, so that's 2024 less the current year of 2019 times 2 for semi-annual periods, we've got 10. And then the yield to maturity is given to us as 6.04%. Let's divide that by 2. 3.02%. So now we have everything and semi-annual periods, and we can go ahead and solve for price. So payment's going to be equal to 35 from here. N is going to be equal to 10. Future value, 1,000. IY, 3.02. So I'm just summarizing all the inputs I had from before. And then I'm computing, in this one, I'm computing PV. So that is equal to 1040.90. Okay, and so I want to be able to express this as a percent of face. So what I need to do is I need to take that 1040.90, divide by 100, and that's 104.09% of 1,000. So that becomes what I put up here, 104.09. Okay, well that takes care of BMO. So finally, I'm going to deal with Canadian Tire. So their bond, the piece of information that is missing is the yield to maturity. Looking for IY, or more specifically, the yield to maturity, which we have to make sure we express as the others in that column are expressed. Okay, so let's go through and collect the information that we do know. So we know the coupon is 5.625% divided by 2 times 1,000. So that coupon is $28.13. The N on this one is the difference between 2037 and 2019. And then on a semi-annual basis, 36. And then we know the present value is 96.8% of face value being 1,000. So that's equal to 960.80. Okay, so that's all the information we're given. We're given the coupon, the maturity date, as well as the price. So now we can go through and solve for YTM. Payment is equal to 28.125. N is equal to 36. PV is equal to negative 960.80. Future value is equal to 1,000. And we're going to compute IY. When we do so, we get 2.99183%. And then I need to convert that into what the other elements in that column are, and that's an APR with semi-annual compounding. So the YTM is going to be equal to 2.99183% times 2. So that's effectively an APR. Not effectively, it is an APR. Okay, and so that becomes 5.98%. And that's what I put up in this column here. Okay. So make sure you're comfortable with a question like this. The one thing I didn't solve for was the coupon. So what you can do to practice the coupon is to actually sort of resolve Bell, assuming that you don't know 6.25, and make sure you can find that figure.